All right, everyone, get ready for a deep dive today into some seriously cool AI stuff. We're talking about OpenAI's latest and greatest deep research. You're in the right spot if you're really interested in how AI can take research to a whole other level. And we're going to be dissecting a transcript from one of OpenAI's recent live streams, so let's get right to it.
Okay, so picture this. An AI that can just spend hours, like really digging deep into the internet for you, pulling together all the best and most relevant information. Just imagine like your own personal, super powered research assistant. Kind of wild, right? Okay, so before we get into the nitty gritty, I gotta ask, have you heard all this talk about AI agents? OpenAI really seems to believe that agents are going to be like the next big thing for making us all way more productive, helping us get stuff done faster and smarter both at work and in our personal lives. It's a big deal.
Yeah, it really is. And what I find super interesting is how OpenAI is using their O series of reasoning models for this. So take O1, for example. It actually has this built-in thinking time element, which
Okay.
is similar to how like a human expert would actually think about a really complex question. And get this, the longer that thinking process goes on, the better and more insightful the answers from the AI become.
That's wild. But
Uh,
honestly, our current AI models have a pretty big limitation, right? They're kind of stuck in their own little digital worlds. They can't just go out and explore the internet and get to all that amazing information that we use every single day.
Exactly. That's the big thing that's been missing. And that's where deep research comes in. It can actually do multi-step research online. And we're not just talking about like a simple search here. This AI is designed to discover, synthesize, and even reason about information. Kind of like a digital version of a human expert who's like totally immersed in a topic.
Okay, now this is where things get super exciting for me. We're talking about AI that goes way beyond surface level browsing. Deep research could take 5, 10, even 30 minutes to really investigate a research question. That's not just a quick Google search, that's a serious commitment.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And it all connects back to OpenAI's main goal, creating artificial general intelligence, or what we call AGI. So deep research is a big step towards AI that can basically learn on its own and find new information
Yeah.
without us humans having to hold its hand the whole way.
So instead of just giving you a list of links, deep research is actually creating brand new insights. It's almost like getting a fully cited research paper, the kind that a human expert would make after hours and hours of work, but all done by AI. Incredible. All right, so let's talk about how this could work in real life. How could we use deep research in our everyday lives?
Okay, well, imagine you're trying to buy something online, but you can't quite find the right words to describe what you want. Or let's say you need to get a gift for someone, but they're like super hard to shop for. Or maybe you're planning a trip and you're feeling totally overwhelmed by all the research you have to do. These are all perfect examples of where deep research could save you tons of time and stress.
You're right. That's a great point. Actually, I used deep research the other day to help me prepare for a presentation, and it was crazy helpful. It found all this info that I never would have even thought to look for. And the best part is that it's available right now on the pro version of ChatGPT, and they're planning to release it to other versions soon, too.
Exactly. And it's so easy to use. There's a button right in the ChatGPT interface. Just type in your question, hit that button, and deep research does all the hard work for you.
Okay, here's a hypothetical. What if OpenAI wanted to, create a new language translation app? Could they use deep research to help decide if that's a good idea or not?
Absolutely. Imagine asking deep research to analyze the whole market for those kinds of apps. You could tell it to look at stuff like, how many people are using iPhones and Androids globally. Then you could say hey, find out how many people are actually trying to learn new languages right now. And then you could even say show me the growth of internet access on phones across the world. That's a ton of information to ask for.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, it is. And then to make things even more specific, you could ask for a comparison between, say, developed countries and developing countries, or even have the results come back formatted as a professional report, complete with charts, graphs, and even recommendations. That's a big ask.
And here's where things get super interesting. Deep research doesn't just jump right into a research task. It actually asks you clarifying questions along the way. Just like a human researcher would do. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about making sure deep research uses its time well and really gets to the heart of what you're looking for. So with that language app example, it might ask you something like, do you want mobile penetration as a percentage of all mobile users or just the people who have smartphones? Or it might ask, are you interested in all kinds of language learning or just specific categories like learning languages for traveling or for business? It's kind of like having a research buddy who double-checks your thinking before diving in.
I love that. So you're not just giving it a command, you're having a conversation with it.
That's exactly right. It's much more interactive and engaging than just typing in a search term.
That's awesome. So Deep Research is like a super smart research assistant that you can actually talk to and collaborate with.
That's a great way to put it. It's all about making research more intuitive and accessible for everyone.
That's really cool. So now that we've gotten a taste of how Deep Research works, let's dive into some more specific examples and see it in action.
Absolutely. Let's see what this AI can really do and explore how it can be used to tackle all sorts of research questions.
Okay, so are you ready to see this thing in action? Let's jump into some real-world examples and see how Deep Research can tackle different challenges.
Definitely. Let's get specific and explore how this powerful tool can be used to uncover insights and make informed decisions.
All right, so let's fire up Deep Research and see what it can find for us.
Let's do it. I'm excited to see what we discover.
I'm excited too.
Me too. I think this is going to be really eye-opening and inspiring for anyone who's passionate about the power of AI.
I completely agree.
Let's get started.
And what's really cool is you can actually watch Deep Research think as it's working. So like as it's doing its thing, a little sidebar pops up showing you what it's doing. It's super cool. It's identifying all the important data, running searches, and putting it all together, kind of mesmerizing to watch.
It is. It really is. It shows you how much is going on behind the scenes. So the AI actually opens web pages like we would, and then it looks at everything on the page. Text, images, tables, even PDFs. It takes it all in. And that helps it figure out what to do next in its research.
So it's not messing around. It's really going deep, just like the name says. Okay, so while we're waiting on those language app results, let's look at another example to show how versatile Deep Research can be. So let's say you're on a trip to Japan and you suddenly realize you need skis.
Oh, I've been there. Let's say I forgot to pack mine and I really want to go skiing, So I could tell Deep Research, like, hey, I want some advanced gear, all mountain skis that can handle a little powder. And I'm tall, so I need longer skis. And just for kicks, let's see if it can find me some with like a really cool color, Oh, and I would tell it to give me the results as a report with like a table to compare all the different skis.
Yeah, what I think is so impressive is that the more specific you are with Deep Research, the better the results are. It uses all your preferences, whether it's like the type of information you need or the format you want it in, or even if you want it to compare certain things. It seriously does its best to like tailor the research to exactly what you're looking for.
Exactly. And this is all powered by OpenAI's O3 reasoning model, which is like, they haven't released it yet, but it's coming soon. They trained it using something called reinforcement learning, which basically means it's learned how to do super complex research, like browsing the web effectively, planning its research in multiple steps, and then, reacting to new information as it finds it.
Right.
And even like going back if it needs to. It's incredible.
So it can go online and find information, but it can also work with files that you upload. It can use Python for calculations and even making images. It can pull images from websites, and it can cite all its sources with sentences and links. I mean, it's mind-blowing.
Yeah, it's definitely doing stuff that would take us humans forever, And we're not just saying that. Deep Research scored amazingly on something called Humanity's Last Exam, which is like a benchmark created by the Center for AI Safety and Scale AI.
Humanity's Last Exam. That sounds intense.
Right. So basically, it's this massive test, like 3,000 questions across 100 different subjects. And Deep Research got an amazing 26.6% accuracy, which is really impressive. And what's even cooler is that it solves problems kind of like how a human would. Like if you had a really hard question, what would you do? You'd probably go online and do some research, right? So Deep Research does the same thing, whether it's like looking up physics equations or analyzing poetry. It tackles problems like a human.
There's also this other benchmark you mentioned, GUIA. What's so special about that one?
Yeah. So GUIA tests how well an AI can interact with the world around it, like using tools, browsing the web, working with the different types of data like text, images, and audio, which is called multimodal capability. Oh, and executing code, thinking about files, stuff like that. And Deep Research totally nailed all 3 levels of difficulty in GUIA, so it's not just good at one thing.
Okay, so it's super capable. Are there any other tests that show how powerful Deep Research is?
Absolutely. OpenAI also created their own tests based on real expert-level tasks across a bunch of different fields. They had Deep Research do these tasks, and then actual human experts check the results. And get this, The AI successfully finished tasks that the experts said would take them hours to do, and they were super happy with the results.
Wow. It's like it's designed to do the things that take us humans the longest, And there's actually data that backs that up. So Deep Research's performance is more related to how valuable a task is economically than how long it takes a human to do it.
Exactly. So it's not necessarily struggling with the same things that we find difficult. And here's another thing, especially as we think about the future of AI. Deep research gets way better the more time it has to think and the more tools it can use. And this is huge because as we move towards more independent AI agents, they'll need to be able to do these super complicated tasks all on their own.
This is all really promising, but let's be realistic. How accurate is it? Can we actually trust the information it gives us?
That's the big question, right? Well, OpenAI has some really thorough testing, and Deep Research did better than all their other models on this hallucination test. And basically that means it's less likely to just make stuff up, but it's still a machine learning model, so it can make mistakes just like any other research you do. It's always good to double check those sources and make sure the information is accurate.
So it's all about finding that balance, trusting its abilities, but also being a little skeptical, like double-checking its work. Okay, so I know those ski and language app searches are still running, but, they can take a while. So while we're waiting, why don't we take a look at some other examples that OpenAI already prepared, just to give you a better idea of what Deep Research can actually do?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's do that.
Okay, so are you ready to see some more of what Deep Research can do?
Absolutely. Let's dive in and explore some more examples of how this powerful AI can tackle all kinds of research questions.
Awesome. So should we jump into these pre-prepared examples while we wait for the other results to come back?
Yeah, let's see what OpenAI cooked up for us.
I'm excited to see what they came up with.
Me too. This is a great way to really showcase the versatility and power of Deep Research.
Totally agree. It's amazing to see how it can handle so many different types of tasks and deliver really insightful results.
I know, it's mind-blowing. Okay, so which example should we look at first?
Let's see. How about we start with the one that focuses on investment research?
Okay, yeah, that one looks fascinating. Let's check it out.
Awesome.
Great. Yeah, it's really impressive, isn't it?
Yeah.
It just goes to show that Deep Research can take a ton of information and turn it into something we can actually use. It doesn't matter what kind of research you're doing. This could be a game changer for anyone who spends, a lot of time online looking for information, whether it's for your job, a personal project, or even just because you're curious about something.
Totally. Imagine all the time you could save.
Right. Exactly. And think about this. What we've talked about today is really just scratching the surface. Imagine Deep Research being able to connect to all these special databases out there, maybe even company-specific information, That would give us even more powerful insights.
Yeah, that would be amazing. The possibilities are kind of endless when you think about it.
Absolutely. It really makes you think about how this tech could change the whole way we think about doing research.
I know. I'm already thinking about how I could use it in my own work and all the new things I could learn.
It's exciting, isn't it?
Totally. What about you? What kind of research would you use it for?
Oh, man, so many things.
What problems could it help you solve?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Yeah. Maybe we'll even feature some of your ideas in a future deep dive. Who knows?
That would be awesome. I'm sure our listeners have some amazing ideas, too.
I bet they do. Well, that about wraps up our deep dive into OpenAI's Deep Research. We've covered a lot of ground today, from the technical side to, how we can actually use it in the real world.
It's been a wild ride.
It has. It's an exciting time to be following all this amazing AI stuff. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how Deep Research changes and shapes the future of how we find information.
Me too. It's going to be interesting to see where it goes from here.
For sure. Well, until next time, everyone, keep those brains buzzing and never stop being curious.
Couldn't have said it better myself. See you next time, everyone.